The term mass shooting can be used to describe tragic events in Colorado, Las Vegas, and El Paso. Unfortunately, the term can also be used to describe one of the most horrific events in New Mexico history, the Las Cruces bowling alley massacre.
Police suspect they were shot during an armed robbery.
The shooting happened in February of 1990 when two men entered the Las Cruces Bowl and shot 7 people, some of them in the head, while stealing about $5,000 from the bowling alley's office and then setting that office on fire. 4 people were killed almost immediately, including the bowling alley's mechanic, Air Force officer Stephen Teran, and his daughters, 6-year-old Paula and 2-year-old Valerie.
We heard the sirens all morning long. Sirens, sirens, sirens. And well, of course, there wasn't no, cell phones then, so I kept calling the bowling alley and I was getting very nervous because they would not answer.
Audrey Martinez-Teran was at work when she heard about the shooting that killed her husband and 2 daughters.
I actually drove into the parking lot and they stopped me. Once I told them who I was, they sat me back in the seat, put the seatbelt on me and told me that I knew on the drive that Stephen couldn't have made it because I knew that he would be a fighter, that he would fight back.
Teran was taking his daughters to the bowling alley's daycare center where they were going to be watched by 12-year-old Melissa Repass and 13-year-old Amy Hauser. Hauser was also shot and killed. Repass was also shot but managed to call 911.
Please help me. Well, slow down.
Repass survived the deadly shooting with her mother, Stephanie Sanick, and the bowling alley's cook, Ida Holguin. But Sanick, the bowling alley's manager, died about 9 years later from complications related to her injuries. The Las Cruces bowling alley shooting remains one of the worst crimes ever in our state's history. The business has since been closed for over a year, but officials are hopeful that the 30-year anniversary will bring new tips. Now take a good look at these drawings of the suspects. Both are described as Hispanic with dark complexions. The pictures on the left show what the gunmen looked like at the time of the shooting. The ones on the right show what they may have looked like 15 years later.
Throughout the years, our investigators receive calls periodically on this, and we investigate thoroughly.
Las Cruces police say it's still an active investigation. Spokesperson Dan Trujillo says investigators recently traveled to Arizona, Colorado, and Utah in hopes of cracking the case.
We still know that there's somebody out there. We still have somebody in our community or in our state or in our region who has vital information that they can probably share with us. But for whatever reason, we believe they're holding back.
Despite the ongoing investigation, Martinez-Teran tells us she's losing hope.
Yeah, I know that 30 years, it makes it a cold case, but it's not cold. It's not cold to my family.
Martinez-Teran tells us if police were going to solve it, they would have by now.
I would like to see it investigated more. It being close to the 30 years, if he does get any calls or anything, I'd like to see us become priority.
Well, it was never an easy case to begin with. If you remember the facts of the case, there were several people shot in there, and then the suspects started fire to the small office where the incident happened. And so Las Cruces fire had to go in there and put out the fire first, which covered up some of the evidence, unfortunately, and destroyed some of the evidence.
Police say evidence is still being tested at the crime lab in Santa Fe, and they believe that someone knows something. That's why they're still offering a $25,000 reward for information.
There was a certain amount of cash that was stolen during the robbery, and so somebody may have used that money for something. Somebody may have bought a new car, may have done something with that cash, and we need that information so we can connect the dots, if you will.
Martinez-Teran says regardless of the outcome, she'll always remember her family, hoping that someday she'll see justice.
Just them living, just them breathing, just them being here hurts, and then the way they died. Stephen was a good man, and he was an officer, and he didn't deserve that.
Patrick Hayes, KOB4.
If you do have information, remember there is a $25,000 reward. You can contact Las Cruces Crime Stoppers, the number there on your screen. This February marks 30 years. Police say they always see a spike in tips around this time of year.